Welcome back to the Central College Radio Coaches Corner on KRLS. We're joined now by Central College softball coach George Wares, the Dutch on the heels of an Iowa Conference Tournament championship victory over the weekend in Decorah, and just this morning the 61-team NCAA postseason tournament field announced, including a 6-team regional here in Pella. Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and let me be among those that congratulate you on the Iowa Conference Championship.
Thanks a lot, Trevor. It's something we've done a lot with this program, but we haven't won, at least in the modern era, conference tournament. So it was, the way we did it was very fun, and seeing the players' expressions after we got the 2 wins with walk-off style was pretty enjoyable.
Let's go back to the first couple of days of the tournament and kind of put that in a nutshell first. It started with a win over Simpson, 2-0, and that was on last Thursday. And then on Friday came back with a 3-2 loss to Co, where you got the potential game-tying run thrown out at home in the bottom of the 7th inning. Talk about the first couple of games of the tournament.
Well, Simpson, they've been hitting the ball very well, and if you watch them in the first game against Buena Vista, they run-ruled them 13-1 and 5, and so our biggest concern was the fact that they were swinging it well. And Erie, she's tough, yet she'd been pitching a lot, so she's been a workhorse and a very good one for them. But we thought we could get to her because of the number of innings that she's thrown on the season. But then, as far as their offense, Fleetwood just had a phenomenal game. I don't remember two or three hit them, and they really did not threaten very much. And but Erie was tough on us. We snuck in the 1 run and got the insurance run on a steal where they made an error. So felt pretty good once we got a 2-0 lead. But basically, it came down to her pitching and our defense that carried us in that Simpson game. And then the Co game. It's kind of strange when you play Co. Obviously, there's a bit of a rivalry there. A bit might be an understatement, but it seems like something bizarre always happens, and it did again. It started probably with the coaching decision to intentionally walk a couple people, but they got the leadoff double, and then they bunted her over, and we really felt confident that we could get to their have some success against the hitter after we walked a couple. So Flanagan and Hansen we put on and thought we could get the ground ball, and we did, but it was kind of a slow roller, and they scored a run, and then it became an easy decision to walk Britt out, but then the kind of fifth single, and we're down 3-0. And to our players' credit, we talked about it, and I tried to take them off the hook and say, okay, coaching blunder, you guys picked me up this time, and they battled back. We got 1 run in the bottom half, and I thought Haycraft and Schulenberg together, kind of settled down a little bit. Schulenberg didn't throw that one, didn't she? I've lost track of her.
I've kind of lost track as well.
Anyway, I know Bree settled down, and then we got back into the game, and we were kind of there, and then the 7th was just completely bizarre. It's kind of a typical route that we seem to make sometimes, and we have second, third with a runner across and 3-2, and we're looking in really, really good shape. And Abby Strajak, as we'll talk later, had a really good, game-winning hit for us in this last Co game. But there she had a chance. I think if we just get in play there, that's a tough decision. Do they just let us load them, or what are they going to do with it? And not getting that in play was big. And then we made a choice to kind of safety squeeze with Trebrink. And when I saw it down, I thought, we may not be successful here, but I didn't think there'd be a double play. And give their first baseman credit. The tag was one thing, but then the presence of mind to throw to the plate, and it was a close play, and we don't have instant replay, so who knows? It was one of those 50-50 bang-bang plays, and it went against us, and tough loss. We're standing there, and they're celebrating. It's just like we would have been, and we had less than 24 hours to regroup after that.
And maybe the players didn't know this, and I don't know if you brought it to their attention, but until this weekend, no team had ever come out of the loser's bracket of the conference tournament. It's been, once a team wins through the winner's bracket, they win it. So you face the unprecedented task of needing to win 3 games in 1 day. And you did just that. Beat St. Thomas, the league champion in the regular season, 3-0. And then an incredible 7-5 win over the Cohawks before the 2-1 game.
I think I got you. There was a Freudian slip. You said we beat St. Thomas 3-0.
Wow.
That's probably an indication that we are going to something must be going to happen in the regional. But I know,
wow, yes.
I know you meant Luther, but interesting. We didn't talk about it. We just talked about we wanted to play Luther because they beat us twice, and I think we wanted to feel like we knew Cole, Luther, or Simpson, whoever we were going to see one, or as it turns out, 2 of those teams in our regional, but. We wanted to have success against them. We thought we played very well in Decorah early in the season, our first conference doubleheader, and then let it get away both times. And again, Fleetwood, scattered 6 hits and a little bit of trouble. They had most of the troubles with 2 outs, and we make a huge double play in the 7th inning to kind of quiet down any rally that they thought they might get going. And we were very fortunate in the first game. They gave us 4 or 5 outs, and you give us that many outs, something's going to probably happen. And Sarcone got the big hit, and then of course the wild pitch. And as it turns out, 3 was plenty in that game. And then going back to Co again, once that happened, we knew either we were going to come through the loser bracket and win it, or the 4 seed was going to win it, which would have been the lowest seed to ever win it. And the first Co game, I don't even know if we want to talk about that anymore. It's probably going to be forgotten soon. Being sarcastic, it's one of those that it's interesting because that we played the tape from Whitewater before we played Simpson, and all we talked about was we didn't know that Whitewater game was going to happen last year, obviously, and now it's in the memory banks of those players forever, and so will this game be. So regardless of what happens the rest of their season or career, they've got something they're going to tell to their kids, grandkids, and all other people that want to listen. And I'm sure down the road it's going to be even more dramatical than it was. All that would be hard to believe.
That would be.
So and that was just a tremendous effort. Again, Co going up on us 5-1, and next thing you know, we're in the bottom of the 6th, and we're trying to win. There's no question. But then a little bit, you start thinking, okay, we had a really good run here. We've secured a spot, and our seed's probably going to be okay. And then Sarcone doesn't get on, so now we got 1 out, nobody on, and Davis, lines it, and I believe it was a 1-2 pitch, which is even more impressive when you're facing Simon. You get a 1-2 hit, and then a little bloop single by Everingham, and then Hale, who has hit well this weekend. She gets a double, and next thing you know, we're 5-2, and you can kind of sense that maybe something's going to happen here. And we tried to get over on the lay a bunt down, didn't happen. And now Holly's up, and we actually feel pretty good with Holly against Simon. She struggles against some other pitchers, but she seems to do pretty well against Simon. And we thought maybe we'd get a little slap to the left. And next thing you know, and as it goes up, I know the wind's blowing out a little bit, but it was hit pretty well. And I'm thinking, this thing could get out of here. And and just to see Holly run around the bases at second, she wasn't sure, and there was this question, did it or didn't it? And it did. And just to see our fans, and I saw Coach O'Brien over there. I saw our dugout. And we tied the game, and then a minute later, some umpire, and he did the right thing, but some umpire comes up and says, run doesn't count, and by rule it's accurate. I think what happened was, kind of a softball tradition, people jump on the base, and Everingham did and scored, so that's 5-3, and then Carey, I think, was so excited, is my guess, and the adrenaline, she just jumped right over it and didn't touch it. And somebody obviously had to tell them, because that's not an automatic call by the umpire. The umpire can say nothing. It has to be appealed, and Coach Timmons came out and appealed it. So I don't think they saw it. I think probably somebody in the crowd maybe yelled something out to them. And so I want to go on record and say the umpire did do the right thing, but it's still a very, very tough call to accept. And at the time it was real hard. And not so much just the fact that the game was not tied anymore. It's just when you see somebody like Holly, you think back to her freshman year when she couldn't play because of a knee or a back brace, and she's been up and down as a hitter, and just to see that happiness in her face, and then all of a sudden some ridiculous rule that you got to touch plate on a dead ball, And it's ironic because every year when we go to our convention, people say, what can we do to speed the game up? And one thing I said, well, if they hit a home run, just go to the dugout. Why do you have to run the bases on a home run? And why do you have to touch the base? It's not like anybody's trying to tag you, but that's not the umpire's problem. He doesn't make the rules. He just has to enforce them. So again, to go on the record, he did the right thing. Still very, very tough. But the flip side of it is, I think many teams would have said, okay, that's enough. We did what we had to, and now something's not supposed to happen here. So let's just get on with the regional. And then, we shut them down the top half of the 7th, and we get to the bottom, and Simon all of a sudden loses control of it. She only had 1 walk going into that inning and gets a couple, and then, Coach Timmons makes the pitching change to Woodruff, and, we, on a 3-0 we go take, and then a 3-1 we decide to give Whitney a take again, and, ball 4, and now with Sarcone up, I'm feeling pretty good because she's didn't have a lot going against Simon today, but she's a hitter that you give her too many chances, something's going to happen, and it happened pretty big. My only question was it going to get out? It was such a line drive shot. And if it didn't, we may only have scored 1 run because our runners really had to kind of wait. We probably would have tied it, but it was difficult to see if it was going to go on. Once it did, you could bet every one of our players touched every base, including the plate.
7-5 was the final in that game, an incredible game. And it's certainly one that, as Coach mentioned, will live down in the annals of Dutch softball history. We're with George Wares, Central College head coach, here on the Central College Radio Coaches Corner. And the crazy thing is that wasn't it. I mean, that was half of the doubleheader as it turned out against Co. You had to come back and do it again. There's a weather delay thrown in there after the first inning that kind of screwed things up. And in the end, you win 2-1 on a walk-off hit by Abby Strajak.
Well, you know, it's funny that you said that because after the game, you know, we're walking around as coaches, and Alicia comes up to me and says, "Well, we got to go again, don't we?" Because when you won that, you felt like, okay, we just won the championship. No, we just won the right to get to the championship, which again is remarkable in itself, you know, because now we're playing our third high-level, high-intensity game against nationally ranked teams, and you know, it was nice to see in that game that we just talked about that Mallory came in and gave us some very good innings, and Bree came in and finished it, and you know, got the win because of that, and took Mallory off the hook, which would have been our first college loss. And the nice thing about us is we did not have to throw Fleetwood at all, and now we had her fresh. And initially we decided not to go with her. And you know, the rain delay probably was very, very beneficial because it gave us, as you said, 88 minutes or an hour and a half to rest. And you know, then after that, we did make a choice to come back with Rihanna, and she was very sharp. We tied the game up right away, which I thought was big to get it to 1-1, and then again played very good defense. Her changeup was working really, really well in that game. And you know, when you get call strikes on changeup, call strikeouts on changeup, you know it's kind of really freezing the hitter. And we had some chances, you know, in the bottom of the seventh when we had the bases loaded and Davis hits a rocket, you know, as hard as ball that was hit all day other than Sarkone's home run, and we get doubled up, you know, then you start thinking, okay, maybe again. But, you know, right away the players, fortunately, they don't think like the coaches sometimes. They say, all right, let's go to the eighth or the seventh, and I guess that was the bottom of the sixth. And on the bottom of the seventh, what's remarkable there is a lot of teams, when there's 2 outs and you're down to your 8-9 hitter, you say, okay, let's just go on. And next thing you know, Overland gets it in play, and Von Fermetti gets it in play. We got first, second, and you know, we will gamble a little bit. And I thought the steal became pretty significant because that put a little more pressure on them, I think, because now all of a sudden there's a possibility of a bunt, you know, where a whole lot of ways you can score. And next thing you know, Strajak gets the slap hit, and we don't have to worry about sending someone from second. She walks in from third, and a pretty gratifying win.
There was a lot of players that had several fantastic performances, and we don't have time to list all of them. They do not have a conference tournament MVP, but for my money, if there was one, it was clearly Rihanna Fleetwood. 21 innings of shutout ball, and the incredible thing in the 21 innings is really very little threats by the other team. She was just on point the entire weekend.
Well, and she would be the first to say that she pitches well. She has in Central uniform, and the other thing she would say is she could not have pitched as well with the other pitchers not getting some innings, and I think that's what you're seeing with some of the other teams that we play. You know, Co went pretty much exclusively with Simon. Luther actually went pretty much exclusively with Gervin. Simpson obviously exclusively with Arian. And those are really good pitchers, but eventually the toll of that many innings catches up with you. And when you look at the totality of our season, we have not put a whole lot of innings on Fleetwood or Haycraft or Mallory. The other thing that Rihanna would be the first one to say is that the plays behind her just gives you so much confidence. And when I think you're a pitcher that's kind of in a groove as she was and hopefully continues to be, and you know the defense is making plays behind you, you know that if you go to a 2-0 situation, you don't want to come something real fat, but you can probably come a little fatter than you would because you know the defense is going to help you. But that's one of the better. We've had some great pitchers, and that's one of the better performances in a 2-day series against quality competition. You know, to shut those out in today's modern day of softball is pretty incredible.
A few more minutes here with George Wares on the Central College Radio Coaches Corner. This morning, the postseason field was announced. There was little doubt going into the weekend that you were in. There's no doubt after the weekend that you're in. The only question was left as to who would be coming to Pella to join you in the regional. We found out this morning that Wisconsin River Falls will be your opening round opponent. St. Thomas, my Freudian slip earlier, to take on Co. And then Luther, the #1 seed in the regional, against St. Scholastica. A 6-team regional presents some interesting challenges or differences, I guess, than the normal tournament that we're used to, and a very difficult field.
It's a very difficult field, but you know, you've kind of come to accept no matter whether it's 6, 7, or 8, it's going to be difficult around here because there are just too many teams, you know, and you could play that conference tournament again, and we'd probably win it again. But you never know, I guess is what I'm saying. And St. Thomas has an exceptional team, and they just rolled in Minnesota. And River Falls, obviously, 2 straight years now they've won the conference tournament there. They have very good, experienced senior pitchers, so they were in the regional last year up at Eau Claire. So there's nothing easy. I kind of like the 6-team format because you know, it gives us an extra day, and I think that rest can help us. And then I also think the fact that the way it sets up, it's kind of good to be in that 2-5 game if you can win the first game. If you lose it, like any other regional, if you lose the first one, it's an uphill battle. But 2-5 is sometimes better than the other spots in a 16 regional.
As far as the teams, we can talk more about that as the weekend draws closer. We'll have all of the action for you live for Central on 92.1 KRLS and also worldwide at KNIAKRLS.com as the Dutch Open play Friday at noon against River Falls. Quick as we get out of here, Coach, what's going to happen between now and Friday as you get set for this thing?
We're going to go light, I guess this will be Monday, but we're going to practice Monday. Then we have our end of the year senior banquet for all senior athletes. Our seniors will attend that tonight, and hopefully their parents. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll practice around finals. The other nice thing about playing on Friday, as opposed to Thursday, we don't have to worry about finals. It'll be over. So we were kind of wondering if we had to take the final before or after if we were going to play on Thursday. So we'll get as much practice time in as we can and try to kind of stay in rhythm with what we're doing offensively and obviously with our pitchers. And then just go for it, and I think we'll get a great crowd. The weather, hopefully continues to sound as good as it does on the extended forecast, and it's exciting. And I think the people that come all the time, you're going to see another really quality field of regional softball competition. If you haven't been, I'd suggest you might come out because not just us, you're going to see some really, really good softball teams here.
Congrats on the conference tournament championship. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks a lot, Trevor.
That's George Wares, Central College's head softball coach. Again, the NCAA Regional starting Friday in Pella, Central at noon against River Falls on 92.1 KRLS. And we'll have more of the Central College Radio Coaches Corner after this on KNIA KRLS.